Your one subscription can help make a needy person's life easier. 40% of this channel's earnings will be used to support and help those in need. Thank you for being part of this journey. Sometimes, life brings a person into circumstances where even dreaming can feel like a luxury. Charlie Chaplin's story was one of those stories. Born in London on April 16, 1889, Charlie grew up in extreme poverty. Both of his parents were involved in show business, but their family life became increasingly difficult. Charlie was still very young when his father died, and his mother later suffered from serious mental illness. At just 7 years old, Charlie was sent to a workhouse school for poor and orphaned children. Think about that. At an age when a child should be playing with toys, Charlie was already learning the harsh realities of life. But perhaps those hardships gave him something that would later make millions of people smile. Charlie stepped onto the stage at a very young age. His mother was also a singer and actress. During one performance, when her voice suddenly failed, 5-year-old Charlie walked onto the stage and performed in front of the audience. Perhaps that moment was the beginning of a remarkable journey. As he grew older, Charlie developed his skills in dancing, acting, and comedy. At the age of 12, he began working professionally on stage. Eventually, his journey took him from British music halls to America. In 1913, he entered the world of motion pictures. And then came the character that would make him famous around the world. The Little Tramp. A tiny mustache, an old-fashioned bowler hat, a cane, a loose-fitting coat, and that unforgettable walk. It looked like a simple comedy character. But behind that character was an extraordinary artist. Comedy through words and dialogue is difficult enough. But making people laugh without saying a single word is an entirely different level of skill. Charlie Chaplin mastered silent comedy through facial expressions, body language, movement, timing, and emotion. He could tell an entire story without speaking. And the most remarkable part was this. He told stories in which people could see their own lives. It felt as if he wasn't telling someone else's story, he was telling theirs. That was the true power of his art. In 1921, The Kid was released. Then came films like The Gold Rush, City Lights, and Modern Times, which helped establish Chaplin as one of the greatest artists in the history of cinema. But Charlie Chaplin wasn't only interested in making people laugh. He understood human suffering too. In Modern Times, he used comedy to show poverty, unemployment, the pressures of industrialization, and the struggles of ordinary people. Then, in 1940, came The Great Dictator. The world was living under the shadow of war and fear, and Chaplin used comedy to speak against dictatorship, hatred, and oppression. But success did not mean his life became free of controversy. His political views and personal life became the subject of public controversy. In 1952, while traveling to Europe, Chaplin learned that his permission to re-enter the United States had been revoked. He eventually settled in Switzerland. But by then, he had already created a legacy that the world could never forget. A boy who had known poverty, a child who had experienced loss and hardship, he fought through every deprivation and kept moving toward his destination. And eventually, success fell at his feet. Charlie Chaplin's life teaches us that difficulties are not the end of the story. Your circumstances may determine where you begin, but your determination, your talent, and your hard work can change where you end up. Because Charlie Chaplin didn't just make people laugh. He told stories in which people could see their own lives. And perhaps that is why, even after all these years, Charlie Chaplin is still alive in the hearts of millions.